Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Jose from Southern Life. Welcome to our channel. Today, we're going to be talking about buying versus renting. One of the most common questions on our channel right now is, Jose, should I buy a house in Florida? Should I rent for? What do I do? Well, if you don't know what to do, if you're this much hesitant, don't buy. You heard me? If you're that much hesitant, what are you gonna do? Say it with me. Don't buy. If you're not familiar with the place, don't buy. One of the worst things you can do is buy a property in a place you don't understand, because things can go wrong, will go wrong. You might have to sell the property earlier, pay capital gains. You're paying a realtor a lot of money. You're paying legal fees to obtain a property. There's no profit. Besides, you don't know if you're going to last there that long. You don't know if you're going to like it. I really recommend, if you're coming from out of state, don't just move into a state you've never been to and then buy a house right away. You should never buy real estate in a place you don't understand. I would almost rather buy real estate in a place I understand and know I'm not going to make a profit than to buy real estate in a place that's probably going to make me a profit, but I don't understand the markets. I don't understand anything about the place. I really recommend, like what I did, I moved into Alabama and I bought a house without ever, dedicating time to it. Don't ever do that. Rent. Okay? You'll have the opportunity to slow down your search, find the right property. You don't need to buy right now. The notion that you have to buy right now because prices are going up, that's garbage. Look, I called, I have a property, and I know where this property is because I have somebody right across the street. And the house has been vacant. There's been nobody in and out. Nobody's been in and out of this property, just sitting there. And the person that's there, I know nobody's been to this property. It's just sitting there. Call the realtor. Oh, we've had people in and out of this property all day, and you're gonna have to make an offer $10,000 above asking price for me to even consider it. It's a load of garbage. A lot of these realtors are taking advantage of this frenzy that's going on to really bring it home to you. Don't let these realtors scam you. They're a bunch of scumbags. When you talk to a realtor, just listen to me. Listen. When you call a realtor and they say, we have a feeding war here, we got a bidding frenzy, you're going to have to offer blah, blah, blah if you even want to get in. I've seen some of those houses go on the market and they have to drop the price $50,000. If you go right now, listen to me, just hear me out. When you go on the realtor and you're looking to buy, go to realtor and write recently reduced price. And you'll see houses where they've had to reduce the price in Naples, Florida, for example, where if you call a realtor right now, matter of fact, we'll just randomly call. We should probably do. I'm not gonna do it, but we should probably call a realtor randomly right now. You tell them, hey, I'm interested in this house. They're gonna tell you there's a feeding frenzy. Yeah, we've got buyers left and right. You're gonna have to offer $50,000 over asking price. Go on realtor.com and write recently reduced price, and you'll see houses where they've dropped $100,000, $50,000, $70,000, $13,000. In other words, they're reducing the price because the house isn't selling. But if you call that realtor and ask them about that house, you know what they're going to tell you? You're going to have to offer above asking price. They're scamming people. Do yourself a favor and don't buy a house, one, in a place you don't know and you're unfamiliar with, and two, from one of these realtors that's telling you stuff like there's a feeding war going on here. What you need to do is get familiar with the place, see if you like it. Yes, you're going to lose $10,000, $20,000 to rent. You can lose your life, okay, buying a house in the wrong place and moving into it. I mean, you got sinkholes, you got hurricanes, you got crazy neighbors, you have regional tensions, you're coming from out of state. Neighbors may not like people that come from out of state. So there's a lot going on in these places before you just hop in and buy something out of nowhere. It's a brave move, and if you're brave, you're not afraid to risk it all, then I guess. But I don't recommend you do it. Rent. Here's the other thing, especially if you're moving to Florida. You can buy a house in Florida right now for $80,000. That will rent for $1,200. That's out there right now in Florida. You can quite literally buy a house for $80,000 that will rent for $1,200. Okay? Now go on the calculator and divide 500,000 by 80. 500,000 by 80. $6,200. That's how much you should be able to rent out a house that you buy for $500,000. Are you gonna buy a house in Florida for $500,000 that's gonna rent out for that kind of money? No. You can buy a house for $500,000 in Naples Park, and you might get $2,400 for it. Maybe $3,000 during season or something. Maybe $7,000 a month for 1 month as a seasonal rental or something. What I'm trying to tell you is that the more expensive the house is, the smaller the profit margin. So if you want to live in a $500,000 house, you may just want to rent it. Because if you're really looking at profit as far as cost of living, I'm not talking about appreciation or keeping up, that's a whole different thing. But just your housing for the next year. That house that you pay $500,000 for should rent for $6,000 a month. You don't pay $6,000 a month for $500,000 house. That's insane. You might pay $3,000 or $2,800 or something. So the more expensive the property is, and you probably want to live in a decent home, it really might make sense because you don't have that capital you're trying to hold on to. I don't know the mindset of that person. So here's how that works. If you have $500,000, you buy a house for $500,000, and then a year later you sell for $600,000. You made $100,000 in a 1 year period. That's great stuff to do. That's called appreciation. Okay, but if you're a homeowner, you're looking for a place to live, you don't need to be thinking about appreciation. You just need, especially if it's a market you don't understand, because the person that buys a house for $500,000 and sells it for $600,000, they kinda know exactly what they're doing. There's people who know exactly what they're doing, and there's people who have absolutely no idea what they're doing, probably you. So you're not going to fall into the category of the person who makes that much money. So if you think about buying or renting, I'm not much of a renter, never have been. I considered renting in Florida. If I wanted to live in if I wanted a big, nice house, I would definitely be renting it. However, I have roots in South Florida. I know people in South Florida. I understand how everything works down there. So I can buy a house down there and know exactly what the crap I'm going to do with that property. Whereas I can feel comfortable buying a property knowing that, okay, I know how this market works. I know if it's profitable. I know if it's got potential for appreciation. Where the vast majority of these buyers that are out there in these bidding wars, they have absolutely no idea how the market works, if there's appreciation potential. They don't know anything about these markets. They're just blindly throwing money out there. So if you think about buying versus renting, I would suggest, if you are wanting to live somewhere really decent, to rent for a while. They'll give you time to scope out the place, make sure you like it. Most people are okay with wherever they move to. Once you buy, you're committed. When you're renting, you can be more flexible. You might buy a house. Here's this big metropolitan area. You might buy a house on this corner of the metropolitan area, and then later come to find out you really want to be on this side. But now you got to wait 2 years to get over here because of capital gains tax and all that. So if you're thinking about buying versus renting, I would really say, if it's affordable, if you're buying at the bottom of the market, like let's say here's the price range. You have $1 million houses up here, you got average houses here, and then you got affordable houses here. If you're in this realm of the budget, go ahead and buy. But if you're up here at the top, or you want to live in a really decent property, I would definitely recommend renting, because like I said, the initial cost of doing that is lower if you're renting a decent house, where if you're buying something affordable, then the math equates differently. But more than the cost, renting, I think too many people are thinking that home ownership is this great magical thing. And over the long haul, if you do not pay rent over long periods of time, it's going to increase your net worth. There's no doubt about it. When you're paying rent, it's kind of like a cap on your net worth. But what type of person are you? Like, I'm a transient person. For 20 years, I lived in one place. Now I want to hop all over. Buying a property, it's like tying a rock to your foot, in a sense. It holds you down. What type of person are you? Are you the type of person that wants to move around a lot? Because if you're the type of person that likes to move around a lot, not sure about where you're going, not sure if your wife's going to stay with you, not sure where your life is going, you quit jobs, today you're a landscaper, tomorrow you're an electrician. If you're living like that, buying a house probably isn't the thing. I think if you're buying a house, you need to know that you're going to be there between 2 to 5 years minimum. If you're not sure where you're going to be 2 years from now, or if you might want to relocate for work or something, then buying a house can really be a rock tied to your foot. I mean, think about when you list the house, you lose $8,000 to a realtor. When you buy, you lose $4,000 to a realtor at least. Then you got to change your driver's license. You got to change your tags on your cars. You got to change your home address. You got to reroute everything in your mail. When you add up the cost of moving, sometimes renting, and there's some things that go with home ownership, like your air conditioner broke, your dishwasher broke. So if you think about buying in Florida and you want a $250,000 house, then you got all the other expenses. That's going to add up to paying somebody $170 to mow the lawn, air conditioner broke, refrigerator broke, hole in the roof. Home ownership is really expensive. What I recommend to people is even consider a condo. Like, you can literally buy a condo with like $160,000, get a decent condo somewhere, even less than that. But then you get into more areas where you may not feel comfortable, unless you're Jose, which me barrio, mi gente, no problema. I like it. I actually like the ones that are cheaper. We'll get into that's a whole different story. But anyways, you get a condo. And when you get a condo, you have an HOA. That's fine. Especially if you buy it cash, you can pay $2 or $3 a month. That's not a big deal. Get an HOA. You don't have to worry about cutting the grass. You don't have to worry about nothing. You can live where you want to live. You're owning the property. Are you going to make a profit? Probably not. But you're not, over the long run, draining your resources like a lot of people are doing. I would say renting is also, so a lot of people think buying is a better option or buying is a good option. I would almost say neither one is a good option right now. Okay, if you're buying, you have this giant loss of capital tied into this investment. If you're renting, then it's all going out. But either one of these right now, the way things are, the cost of housing, say it for me, Kitty. Housing cost is so ridiculous that whether you're renting or buying, it's not like buying is a great thing. People are excited about buying like it's not. It's a nightmare. It's a pain in the butt. It's money going out. Either one of these options are bad. So don't look at it like this option's great. This one, no, they're both horrible options, but you gotta live somewhere. So that's what I think about buying versus renting. If you're coming from out of state, just rent. You may not like it at all. And if you do rent, you'll be able to have time to acclimate yourself to the place and get familiar with it. If you're familiar, if you're in a situation where you know the market, you know the place, and there's like also like another layer of this, which is there's realtors out there that are great realtors. They know how to sell a house, but they have no idea. They could have a realtor could live in a place for 50 years and have no idea how that place works. a regular working class person who's out there working and moving, and like, let's say a guy that delivers pizza, or a guy that works at a, you know, auto shop, those people like that are in and about the places, that are like me, that are just the type of thing they do, they're always out there. Well, we get a real, like, I have a better scope of Alabama in 1 year here than people who are from here their whole lives, because in their whole lives they never leave their neighborhood. They're in their whole neighborhood their whole lives. They've never gone to the next town over. You know what I mean? I've been all over Alabama. There's people that just with what, like, if you're a pizza driver, if you drive a semi truck, you're all over the place. You know everything. Those people have a better idea of what the place is about, where they can buy, where they can invest, what type of neighborhood is good, what type of neighborhood is bad, and that also plays deeply into what you do. So some people, like, if you move into Florida or whatever, you might just play golf and lay on the sand for the rest of your life. You're never really going to understand what's going on in those places. But if you go down there and you start doing a delivery job or something, or, you know, delivering carpets to people or something, in a, you know, or delivering furniture to people, you're going to get a real good understanding of what neighborhoods are better, what, you know. So I would definitely recommend probably renting if you can, and don't look at it as these are two great options. Look at it as they're both horrible options right now. Which one is the less of the two evils? And there it is, renting versus buying in Florida. I would recommend, if you're moving to Florida, just rent for a little while. Don't buy into that madness. A lot of these realtors are just trying to take advantage of you.